So this is really for my men followers, particularly young men. If you have the courage to actually listen through this, somewhere along the line, someone has convinced you that your anger is your identity, that your frustration and discontent, your sense that something is deeply wrong in the world was a sign that you were part of a war, a battle between us and them. And that they, whoever they are this week, were the ones stealing your future, your dignity, your purpose. But here's the hard truth. You have been used. Rage baiting, it really is a thing. Rage is one of the easiest human emotions to manipulate. Gangs use it, cults use it, authoritarian regimes thrive on it, and political parties have learned that if they can keep young men and men in general angry, they can keep them loyal, keep them scared, keep them fighting an enemy that is mostly a mirage. So, they never turn around and ask the real questions. What if you were to ask, who actually benefits from my anger? Why do they keep telling me that I'm under attack? Is my outrage actually solving the problems in my life? I get it. I really do. I get it. There are a lot of young men that look at the world and feel like there is no place for them. They hear words like privilege and power and think, wait, wasn't I struggling just to get through school? Aren't I just trying to pay rent? And why does it feel like I'm the enemy just for existing? And let me say, while that's not what these movements for justice really mean to say, I won't deny that this is the message that has landed on men's hearts like a hammer. Thoughts like, you don't matter as much, that others' pain is more urgent, that you'll be fine, just deal with it. Well, let me tell you, that is not the gospel message. The gospel doesn't rank suffering. It doesn't say your wounds don't matter because someone else's wounds are deeper. It says, I see you. I know you. I know what's been taken from you. I know the shame you carry, the expectations you failed, the ways you have been left behind. That's the gospel. When Jesus called his disciples, he didn't go after the powerful. He didn't chase after the man who had it all figured out. No, he went after the fishermen, the tax collectors, the men who actually had been used and discarded by the systems of their day. And he didn't tell them, shut up and make room. He gave them a purpose. Not a throne, not a war, a purpose. Those whose agenda is to manipulate young men, they are desperate. They know that young men are desperate to belong to something that matters. So they offer a counterfeit version of brotherhood. They say, oh, you don't belong there, right? Fine, you belong here with us. You feel disrespected? We'll give you people to fight. You feel powerless? We'll show you how to take back control. That's why rage movements work, because they offer something that feels like belonging, that it feels like purpose. It feels like power, right? But in the end, they leave you emptier than before, if you're really honest. Jesus understood this tension. In the Gospel of John, after he fed the 5,000, the crowd wanted to make him king by force. They saw in him a leader who could take their discontent and turn it into power, who could overthrow their oppressors and win for their side. But you know what Jesus did? Jesus withdrew because Jesus knew the truth. Belonging built on rage always leads to bondage. The real enemy isn't DEI or wokeness or feminism or whatever talking head is trying to stoke your anger with this week. The real enemy is the lie that shows your life only has meaning when you're fighting someone, that you will only matter if you conquer, that you will only be a man if you win. Jesus doesn't offer you an identity rooted in enemies. He offers you sonship, belovedness. He offers you a peace that doesn't require an enemy to sustain it. So if you're exhausted, if you started to suspect that all this rage is leading nowhere, if you're sick of feeling like a pawn in someone else's game, then maybe it's time to drop the sword and follow the man who didn't need enemies to know who he was. Maybe it's time for you to be authentically free.